Alright, this is for 615 in Jacksonville State. We're discussing test scores and assessment. Continuous Learning Center is the school that I work at, and we're going over 2012 and 2013 math ARP data scores for 8th graders. Now, when going over the data, we also mentioned 2011, 2012 so that we can compare the 2 years. Alright, going over the first groups. All the students from 2012, 2013 that participated, as you can see, 65% made level 2, which is not good. We want most of our students to make level 4, which is passing. Level 3 is proficient, but it's not quite where you want them to be. So if 65% made level 2, and then 21.74 made level 3, and then 13, one student did what he was supposed to do in the 8th grade. And that equals the 100%. Now going back to the 2011, 2012, not a single student made level 4. Now level 3, we did have 2 students make level 3, so those students we still want to help stay on that level, but we need to figure out a way how to bring up the scores for level 2, which was 76.19% of the students at the Continuous Learning Center. Now, if you look at the special ed here, as you can tell, everybody who tested is special ed at the CLC. Now, going back over the scores, if we have everybody being special ed, we're going to have to make some accommodations for tests. We're going to have to bump up how we work with the students, either having another certified teacher in the classroom to help read the math part, or we're going to have to look at different situations. So if everybody's special ed, we need to look at the IEPs and the BIPs also. Going over the different groups, males, we have in 2012, 2013, 73% of the students at CLC in the 8th grade are males, 26 are females. So there's more males by almost 3/4. The year before, we had majority males, 85% to 15%. Black ratio, and that has a lot to do with as far as we'll be looking at poverty levels and different things like that. 73.91% of the students are black. And if you could tell, in the level 2 in the blacks, 76% of blacks were at the level 2 and 23.53 were in level 3. Nobody in 2012, 2013, they were black made level 4. So that was not a black student who was in the level 4. Same thing, 2011, 2012, 81.25%, level 2. And then in the level 3, 18.75%. And nobody in the Hispanic group was in 2011, 2012. But in 2012, 2013, the only person that was in that group, 4.35%, didn't even test. Going to the next part, our white students, we have 21.74% in 2012, that is our 8th graders, and then in 2011-12, 23.81. Now going all the way down, because this is how we look at what we need to do as a school when you look at free lunch and the poverty levels of the students. So the students in 2012, 2013, which is the year we were talking about, 91.3% of the students at the CLC are on free lunch. So what does that mean? That means probably those students don't have the resources at home to help with homework. They might have other problems such as running water, might not get good night's sleep, anything. They're scared to go to sleep sometimes at night, but that does not always mean everything. If you look at that group, 9.52, so somebody in that group made level 4. So it is not always true that just because you're in poverty and free lunch, you will not pass. But it does matter how we handle that as a school. And free lunch 2011, 2012, going back over that, level 4, there wasn't anybody who passed in that group. Most of the group was level 2. So we have to come up as a whole of what's going to work, and we're going to discuss that in a minute, what to do to make that better. And going down to the last group, the poverty group, 95.65% of the students in 8th grade this year that the testing lives in poverty. Now, breaking it down, talking about the special ed students, I just wrote a little couple of notes that we'd like to work on. Maybe this will help the school as a whole bring up some of the scores. Now we know all students at CLC are special ed, so that means students need extra help on basic math skills. There's a lot of different ways we can do that. We can have these students do stuff in my class, such as PE, work on circumference of a basketball, measure basketball courts, things that are fun, but also work with them. A lot of the students like football. If a person ran for 25 yards and he fell back 3 yards, what was his total net? We can work on different things like that. Students who are on level 3 will be monitored in the classroom, but they also, because we don't want them to fall to level 2 the next year, they will do daily interventions during other classes. They'll work on BMath, and they also use the computer program USA Test Prep. Students who are on level 2 will be able to come to summer sessions, which is kind of like summer school, but instead of students paying for failing classes, they'll work on Board Your Math, and we'll also do project-based learning activities to help them with their math skills in outdoor activities and different things like that. For testing, we'll have an extra certified teacher in each classroom during testing because some of the students will need the test read to them. And on the math section, it can be read, unlike part of the reading test. So we'll have to go by the IEPs. Some of them get extra time. Some of them might even have to have some of the questions marked off. Our poverty group, just like we said, this is a big deal because some of these kids have been in poverty, generation poverty. They've done this, parents, grandparents, so you have to get the parents involved because some of the parents, they don't care what kind of grades they have. So when students in poverty are absent, we need our office staff to call, see why they're absent. We need to get the students to school, that's what we'll do. A lot of students who live in poverty have more than 20 days of absentees. In the school system, they only allow you to have 10. So we'll get the social worker, attendance officer involved, and we will see what the situation is, and make sure those students bring in notes why they aren't there. Now, how do we get parents involved? That's a tough one here at CLC because the parents really don't care. They're here for an alternative reason. They're done with their kid to some extent. We need to have a tutoring program to help the students because the parents aren't helping them at home. So we need to have, we'll try to get some college kids from South Alabama, University of Mobile, or Springfield College to come over, tutor the kids after school 30 minutes a day, and we'll provide the transportation to help them getting all their homework done. Now the mentoring program, that's going to be us as teachers. We need to pick at least 2 to 3 kids every day to come up to them and say, hey, how's your day? How'd your night go? How'd you sleep last night? To find out what's going on before they have serious mental breakdowns. And does anybody have any questions in the audience? Yes.
With the tutoring program, you talked about students at South coming.
Correct.
One of the things that I know some schools are trying to do is get their athletes involved, like the college athletes, because they feel that the lower income, the poverty kids are more apt to listen to a college athlete versus a bookworm or somebody on those levels. So that might be a
honestly, I totally
way to
agree
get
with
them in.
that. Just because every kid you ask in the 8th grade who goes to CLC, what do you go big and you grow up, they say professional athlete. Then you try to explain to them, well, you're making D's and E's, you're not going to make it if you keep doing this path. So maybe an athlete can say, I've been down your path, or we've struggled, and this is how we can do it. And the last way would be inviting parents. Now, parents aren't going to come just to come. They could care less about, when they see CLC is calling for your student, they purposely don't answer the phone. We know that, and they say they don't answer anymore. So we're going to have to provide lunch for the parents to come, and even incentives such as gift cards to Walmart, just so that they'll come for special occasions. Now, to kind of end this up, we're going to go, this is what's not on the sheet, and that's data that we need to talk about. Every student in our school has mental issues, and they go to Alter Point, and they are on so many different kind of medicines, and some days they forget their medicines. So when they come to school on Monday, Saturday, Sunday, they didn't take their medicines. They could be sleeping all day and didn't retain anything in the classroom. And students might have been out of school over a long period of time, and that's big. The student has been suspended since August, and they come to CLC since December. 3 months they haven't been in the classroom, and that's because the parents just let them stay on the couch, and the school system's not going to go out and find them. So all the stuff they'll be learning for the ARP test, they're not getting it. So we have to catch all those students back up, try to keep them awake with their medication, and then the biggest problem with CLC, a high number of discipline problems from past schools. So we need to be an ally with everybody at our school, try to work with them and not against them. We're not here to suspend anybody. We're here to talk to them. Let's get the base, the meat of the math, meat of the reading, and let's just work with them on different things like that. Now, a last quote that I saw was great because every other school you go to, they keep doing the same thing, and that's the kid in the back of the classroom causing problems because he doesn't know the answer or just sleeping. If we teach today's students as we taught yesterday's, we rob them of tomorrow. That's by John Dewey, and that is true for kids at CLC. Those kids that you ask to answer a question, they don't know the answer. So what are they going to do? They're going to rebel, they're going to act up, or they're going to do whatever they can to get out of that situation. So, anybody here have any questions or comments?
How many of your students are read aloud, do you know, in the sense of IEPs?
Everybody on our can be read aloud, but the problem is somebody's on question 1, somebody's on question 4. That's the problem. So we're just, and some of them, they get frustrated when you read aloud because when you read aloud, it messes them up. So that's why we're having to pull some out with another certified teacher just to take the test. So we do have problems with that. Yes, ma'am.
Another way to get your parents involved is to do like a family fun day, like on a Saturday, where you have like bouncies. Because even though middle school kids might not,
They might not like it.
but they do. Like kids that age love bouncies, water bouncies, and things like that.
They can get parents involved, and they can think the school's not always, all right, I'm going to kick your kid out of school today. That's what you're calling me for. You come pick up the student, and it could be for good things. And that's something to look at. The teachers, y'all need to call people and say, hey, your son did something great today. He made an A on the test today. Don't just call for negative, call for positive behavior. And that's going to end us today on our ARP scores and our information, since we do not have a lot of information, since we do not have any students based for CLC. They're all sent to us. That's all we can do. Thank you.